Hey, what's up everybody? Rob Marzullo here, Ram Studio Comics, and today's video is going to be on some more poses. So let's go and get started. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them below and I will respond at my earliest convenience. So, poses are a good way to practice any day you're getting ready to, start drawing some stuff. I always draw a couple of these a day. You can never do enough of these, I think. So, what I do is just kind of box them out, a few lines and points for the joints and things like that, and then I just kind of fill out the process and the direction the character might be going, and I change some things and erase and nip and tuck, and it's all about just sketching here and figuring out the pose. So and I try to keep these relatively quick too, not to dedicate too much time into any one of them, so that I can, again, it's a warm up exercise, and if they're cool and I think something stands out about them, that I might be able to use at a later date, then I'll kind of put those on a file and save them. If not, I'll just draw them for warm ups and move on. And again, I try not to think about anything in particular, unless I'm going to sit down and do all punch poses or all sitting poses, things like that. But this is just more for the sake of warming up, so I don't really have anything pre pre-made in mind. I'm just kind of sketching it out, letting the chips fall where they may, so to speak. And that's about the extent of it right there. So just real quick gesture, poses and lines. Um, and obviously not using reference. If I was using reference, they'd look a little bit more, uh, proper or correct. This is just me doing my own little sketch warm ups. So I don't know if anybody would actually be doing the move that she's doing right there, but she's dodging a fireball and getting ready to shoot back a lightning bolt. Maybe that's what's going on. Who knows? All right. So, and I'll just do a few of these. So let's see. What's another? Kind of like the whole leaning back thing. Let me try that. Sometimes I'll draw the spine in like that. Get the curvature of the spine, and then here I'll have the arms kind of coming out. Now, if I'm trying to make this look more foreshortened, these segments in between the joints are going to get a lot smaller, and this area, the hand or whatever is closest to the camera, is going to get a lot larger. Uh, Let me see how this one works out, and I'll see if I want to try to do that, do what I'm talking about there with the foreshortening. So just picture that she's got her hands kind of wide open, kind of palms out at the whatever's going on, maybe saying no don't, or um, maybe blasting some energy from her hand. Who knows? Who really knows? So just again keeping it very loose and nothing um, too special here. One of the reasons I think about just sketching it and not getting too committed early on, is because there's nothing worse than spending too much time on a drawing that by the time you start uh, putting your finesse kind of line work in or whatever, the really time consuming parts of it, and you realize that the layout's all wrong, proportions are wrong, or the composition or any of that. So that's why you have to sketch. You have to just really get comfortable sketching fast and kind of figuring out all those various things before you delve into it and put all that serious time into it. So that's where the sketching process is a time saver. And that's also what I meant by saving ones that stand out to me as something, that might be a little more exceptional, like a pose that comes out really good in the initial sketch. I know that it's probably worthwhile to dedicate and bring that to a more finished piece of artwork. And if you ever watch my stuff, you'll know that I quickly run out of paper, digital paper, as I'm working. I always have to resize and move my characters. And the next thing I'm always studying it, but the thing that I want to benefit or get better about my art is proportions. That's one of the things I struggle with. And those are some pretty ugly feet. But again, this is just for the sake of the pose. Move that over there. Now the other thing too is if you ever seen something funky like this leg right here looks a bit off to me. Flip your pictures back and forth. You'll see people do that a lot, especially in digital painting. Always mirror stuff back and forth as you're going. That'll help for some reason, and I'm not exactly sure why, but it helps you see the flaws in your own work. So you can always try that. For rough sketches like this, I really don't worry about it. But okay, so now let's do. We've got shoulders back. We've got shoulders forward. Let's do a nice straight one, kind of an angled shot to the body. The other thing is always draw the angles from the head to the shoulders to the hips differently, especially on women characters. Uh, Lends a little bit more to the sensuality, the fact that they're more flowing in features. They're not stiff as a board and standing upright and all straight. So just kind of remember that. And everything's a curve. Let's see, but let's do kind of one arm relaxed, the other one kind of up, maybe fixing her hair or something like that. So there's our little gesture lines. And I think as you get better with these, you're able to work quickly and with less data over time. So, you know, after a while, you know that just these two little sweeping curves, that's her form, and you don't have to add much more information than that. But that, again, comes with time. So, as you get more confident with your drawings, each one of your stages that you do you'll start doing more of what I call a shorthand, um, because you're the one reading it. Just like when a pencil or an inker work together on comics, you'll notice that some of the guys that work together for a long time, not all, but some, will draw their pencils more and more loose and let the inker take control because they've worked well enough and long enough together where the one can interpret small bits of line data and know exactly where the other person's trying to take that. So, which I don't speak that from experience. That's more what I've learned from watching, excuse me, other people's videos and things like that. Um, as far as my comic book illustration days, well, I shouldn't say days. I'm still working on my Blackstone comic, which you can find on Indie Planet, by the way. Bam! Nice segue to the advertisement. Anyways, um, it's I do my own inking and stuff, so I really haven't had the pleasure of, having that harmonious synchronicity or whatever with another artist that does the inking. I've had other artists ink my work and been highly impressed by it, but just have never worked long enough for a long enough duration with another artist inking work and things like that to have what I'm talking about. Again, I just kind of picked that up from other people's um, videos and what they've talked about with it. Like one of my heroes in comics, well, probably a lot of people's heroes in comics is Jim Lee and along with him Scott Williams. Those guys work together on an insane level where they just flow. Their work flows so well together. So I imagine that they, you know, and it might have been one of Jim Lee's videos where I heard that. But I know that those two, have that kind of Vulcan mind meld going on where they can just, see what the other one's trying to put down. And I'm sure Scott can just take from Jim Lee's stuff and just go, go right where he wants with it. All the while giving his own little, his own style in there too. All right, so we got, let's see, lean forward, kind of lean back, hands high, which I really don't know what she's doing there. Here, I'll just put some power on her hands. That's always fun. That's my sound effect for power, folks. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Um, and what would be another one? Let's do a shoulder back here, a shoulder forward, and then that would mean the spine's kind of rolled, maybe. And kind of maybe a punch or a lunge, and then one arm back. Then the pelvic back here, down tilted face. I always do that cross on the front of the face just to show, the direction of it. And that's all I really need to move forward to the next stage or whatever, like by doing that. Oh, and the other thing is this, I can't remember what it's called. I'll say yin or yang for the lack of a better term. When one arm's forward, that leg's back. There's a word for it, and I'll have to look that up. Or tell you what, there's our pop quiz. Somebody look that up and throw it in the comments section below. That'll be fun. But it's there's a name for it, and the way that people propel their bodies. It's probably has something to do with inverse kinematics or whatever. The way that we, the energy's channeled through the body and balance and all that good stuff. But there's a name for it, and you want to always do that where if this arm's forward, this leg's up. Goodness, vice versa. Sorry, easy to fix. This one. If this arm's forward, this leg would be back. But I don't know, not necessarily, because then this arm's back. I would make this leg forward. Ooh boy, awkward. Awkward moment. Anyways, you know what I'm saying, man. Or lady. Or people. Okay, so there's a little fist. That's a fist, folks. That quick. Fist. And little foot. And this foot would probably be pointed back. They're probably just flying through the air at this kind of pose. And at this point, you can't tell if it's a male or female, so put a little ponytail. And I guess that still wouldn't tell you. I've seen guys wear ponytails, so. But this is supposed to be a female. These are all kind of female poses, even though you could pretty much just redraw over top of them and change them. And it's actually a good technique and practice for you, so you might want to try that too. It's good to be able to grab like a male or female pose, especially if you take your own photo reference of yourself and you try to, incorporate that into some of your art, which I think is totally cool. I do that. You know, it's uh, it's a time saver if you're struggling with a certain pose. All these are right out of my head, and they're not great or anything. Um, but if I took reference, I would immediately see, any flaws. Like maybe this shoulder gets totally covered by the head right here. It probably does. There, in fact, I'm almost sure it does now that I'm thinking about it. But that's where photo reference is really going to help you there. So it's good to be able to take a photo reference shot of, a guy character and convert it to a female character, and then not obviously not see the fact that you did that. It's just kind of good practice. So, all right, so there's that. I don't have any that are really extreme foreshortening, so I'll try one of those. Now, the way I do more extreme foreshortening is I always just jump to drawing the closer thing. So, say in this case, it's a hand, and she's got her hand out, doing a little hand pose thingy. And I just kind of draw that first. I don't know if that's the right way to do it. It's just the way I do it. It works for me. So, and then I would draw like the portion of the forearm that you would see underneath like that. Again, this is just sketchy. Maybe you see some of the bicep. Maybe you see some of the shoulder. And then this line just generally just kind of falls in there somewhere. Um, Now, the other thing I would do is I would tilt the head. The reason being, if she's got her hand out like that, chances are she's looking around her own hand. So little tiny things like that go a long ways when you think about the realism of it. Um, you don't have to. It's not a must or anything, but it shows in your work, I think. So, and then the collarbone will probably come across here. It's a girl. She's got a real skinny neck, and her head would probably be a little bit higher. They have longer necks. The better to strangle when they take you off. No, I'm kidding. I am kidding. I am a happily married man. Well, we're not married, but pretty much. I have a fiance. And I would never strangle her because she would kick my butt. Okay, so there's the hand up closer, like so. Ta-da. And then this arm, I'd probably turn the body pose. There's the spine again. I'd probably twist the body pose. It always looks better when, you know, like I said before, like the shoulders shouldn't match the angle of the head. The more you twist the pose like that, especially on females, I think it looks a lot better, more natural because they're very bendy. And again, running out of digital paper. And what would this arm be doing? This still doesn't look right to me. I think based on the fact that her torso is turned so much to the side, you would just catch a little glimpse of the shoulder like that, and then if you did see this arm, it would just kind of pop out of the side like this. Put the hand on it. Yeah, I think that's better. And by the time I take these rough sketches and I carry them, if I decide to draw them into a finished piece of artwork, they still, if I put this side by side with the finished rendition, there's still a lot of changes that I make as I go. So don't think that you have to, you know, stay with the initial sketch like that. It's just a sketch. It's just the beginning stage of the drawing. Is always make sure the knees are kind of pointing the same way. You can turn the one leg, but it's rare that you do it, I think. Could be wrong. And I think the knee always goes with the foot. No, you know what? The foot has a little bit more of a radius ability than the knee does, uh, but not by much. They kind of align with each other. But yeah, you always kind of see the one leg out like that, the one foot out like that. But I think the knees only twist a certain amount away from each other, and the feet go a little bit further, something like that. And again, that's where I would go now to reference when I do something like this, and I'm like, I'm not sure. That's when I pull reference. That's when I even pose and look in the mirror or whatever. So like I have a camera on a tripod that I use for visual reference if I need it, and I'll have me or my fiance pose and take pictures and figure out the way that stuff goes if I can't just Google it. So well, you can tell these are all from just memory because they're inaccurate, but that's how I practice. So there you go. There's a few poses. Hope you liked that. Hope it taught you something, or at least hope you enjoyed it. And got more videos on the way. And make sure you like and subscribe, please. Share the videos and check out Blackstone Eternal on indieplanet.com. Always love the support. I'm working on book 2 now, trying to get it done, but I just had a newborn, and so we're acclimating to that whole thing, which is great and fun and awesome. So thanks very much for watching, everybody. Keep drawing, keep having fun. Talk to you soon. Bye.